Hey everyone, this is chapter 1.4, and today we're going to talk about altcoins and the broader digital currency ecosystem. As a quick introduction, my name is Dean Maisley. I'm the executive director of Ben. You can find me on Slack as @Dean. In this module, you're going to learn about what makes up an altcoin, some example use cases, and how to distinguish amongst the huge amount out there. In a nutshell, altcoins are basically any cryptocurrency that is not Bitcoin. Now, because anyone can fork, or in other words, copy the Bitcoin blockchain, it allows people to experiment and tweak and add their own modifications without actually harming the security of what people are already using in everyday situations. And in this way, people can also design for niche use cases and allow them to customize the code to fulfill something that the general blockchain system can't really fulfill. Now let's go over some example innovations that some altcoins provide. So Bitcoin is always kind of chastised by the community for not being completely private. And in this way, some other innovators have taken over this industry and created coins such as Monero or Dash or some other coins that allows people to transact without anyone recording who transacted or what they transacted or how much they did. Now, Bitcoin projects such as confidential transactions allow this kind of confidentiality to be implemented within Bitcoin itself. It's notoriously difficult to develop on top of blockchain. The Bitcoin script is not friendly to use and requires a lot of expertise to understand how to do even basic interactions. In this realm, Ethereum, Counterparty, and Rootstock have taken market share to allow people to actually create code in a much more developer-friendly language that's similar to what they use every day. Historically, Bitcoin has been touted as the free transaction network, but that's actually not true. There's transaction fees in Bitcoin like every other network. The difference being that you can pay for the speed in which a transaction is accepted into the network. But let's say you need to have small value transactions accepted very, very quickly. In this way, even Bitcoin doesn't handle those kind of payments. And in that way, Dogecoin, Litecoin, IOTA, and others have tried to fulfill the gap of a micropayment system. Recently, Bitcoin has tried to incorporate micropayments within its own system with innovations such as the Lightning Network and segregated witness to reduce the blockchain size that you have to download. Now, a lot of people like to criticize altcoins as being a drag on the Bitcoin economy, but I would like to make an analogy that counters that. Now, if you take a look at the total market valuation of the cryptocurrency market, you'll see that Bitcoin takes up 81% of this entire ecosystem. Ethereum takes up another 1 billion of that, and that leaves only a small fraction for the altcoin economy. Yet that small fraction pays for a ton of innovators and discoveries to happen for people to try things out without the limits of Bitcoin or other more secure blockchains. And this way, it almost has the effect of a rubber band. Even though it appears like these altcoins are pulling back Bitcoin by stealing away market share, they're actually paying for this innovation to happen, and then once that occurs, the rubber band snaps and propels the entire ecosystem forward to be doing things that it never knew how to do before. Now, there's hundreds and hundreds of cryptocurrencies, and to make sense of which ones are credible and which ones are just pump and dumps is pretty difficult. So there's a few distinguishing features that you can use to determine whether a project is legitimate or not, or at least in my opinion. There's a few ways to get your bearings in this space and determine the merit of different cryptocurrencies out there. To begin, you can check to look at its launch. Was it launched fairly? In this way, did founders give themselves an unfair advantage? For example, did they announce beforehand in proper timing when they were going to launch? Did they launch with clients that were working correctly? Did they give themselves crypto or coins beforehand before anyone else was allowed to have access? These are the kind of questions you can begin asking to see what kind of intentions that the founders had for this ecosystem. Another feature you can look at is the diversity of clients. Are you able to use this cryptocurrency on Mac, Windows, Android, iOS, Linux? Another way you can determine if it's useful or not is if it's fulfilling a specific use case. You can look at some cryptocurrencies such as Coin, which tries to allow for people to rent out their hard drive space on their computers, and that fulfills a function that would be very difficult to do natively on the Bitcoin network. And in this way, you can evaluate how in-depth a cryptocurrency goes to fulfill a niche purpose to see if it's worthy. Thanks for bearing with me. If you have any questions, DM Dean Maisley on Slack. Cheers!